Well, hello there. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that making VTuber dolls has a very special place in my heart. And today we're gonna make another one of my personal favorites, Shylily. She has one of the cutest designs ever, but because it's me, I'm not gonna make her in her regular outfit. Nope, we're gonna make this elaborate, bedazzled gown because, well, I can't help myself and I like it. My friend Blue Pixie did an outstanding job again in sculpting a custom face, custom booba, and custom accessories for this project. Thank you so much, Blue. In order to make the doll, we have to make the doll first, so let's do that. To print all the doll pieces, I first throw them into my slicer and render it out, which always looks so satisfying. Okay, so I got my files, I got my resin, so let's get printing. Same procedure as with every printing round, I fill in the resin into the vat and fire up the first printing process. A couple hours later you can see it's almost done, so I just need to wait for the last few layers to print and for the print bed raising all the way to the top, where I can then remove the plate and reveal the prints. Everything printed. I can't believe this. Oh my god, yes! Now I need to remove the print, which is really not that easy most of the time. Oh! And after a cleansing wash in alcohol and 3 more rounds of prints, I can then put the pieces into my curing station and microwave them to be ready. So this time the 3D printing gods finally heard my prayers and I almost had no issues printing the doll. So here is the bodysuit. Before I assemble the doll, I wanted to show you the cute face that Blue sculpted for this project and this very beautiful piece as well. There's some beautiful tatas. Very nice. Her hands also have slightly almond-shaped nails and I'm just very happy with all the prints. To show you just how many pieces I have to piece together, I laid them out here. If you're not familiar with stringing dolls, this might be intimidating, but it gets easier with time. Okay, so this time I wanted to make things a bit differently because I wanted to see how long I actually need to assemble the doll. So I got my stopwatch set up, I got my doll pieces, my elastic, my glue, my magnets. So let's see how long it will take me. So it took me exactly 22 minutes to string the doll. That's a lot faster than I thought. I guess at this point I'm quite practiced in stringing dolls. And here you can see the whole doll assembled. I'm super happy how cute she looks and I'm honestly so excited to start working on her. Her open mouth expression is just so darn sweet. Do you know what's also sweet? Honey, which is also the name of today's sponsor, PayPal Honey. But what is honey, you might ask? Well, you don't need to live in darkness any longer. I'm here to tell you. It's basically just the #1 shopping tool in America. Okay, Lisa, but what does it do? It's just a little button on top of your browser that is always there, always lurking, watching from the shadows and searching for promo codes, so you don't have to. Did you know how much art supplies you can get for $100? Well, actually not that much. That's why make sure to use Honey to save money on art supplies. You may be thinking, but I don't feel like setting it up and, well, setting it up. Well, good for you, because it is already set up for most websites you're already shopping on. So you can just kick back and enjoy the benefits. It's so satisfying seeing it pop up when you're about to check out telling you, hey, I saved you a little cash. I got you. You can now add Honey to your browser for free. It's literally free.
It's free real estate.
And if you decide to use Honey to actually save money, make sure to go to my link, joinhoney.com/moonlightjewel, to support my channel as well. Thank you greatly for doing so, and also thank you PayPal Honey for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get back into it. It's time to make the wig. I already made the wig cap and made some markings for the white strands and harvested wefts from an old wig. And yeah, let's glue the back of the head first and then we'll work with the front and the bangs and everything. For gluing the wig, I like to use hot glue because it's fast and luckily my fingers have built up complete heat resistance over the years. Here here's a little montage of me gluing the back of the wig, even though my cam thought my t-shirt was more interesting to focus on. Okay, so I glued these front hairs already now, and will now add the bangs and hopefully make them look nice. To build up the front part of the wig for Shylily, I just have to make sure to always glue the black and white wefts at exactly the same spots, so we will have those typical 2 white bang strands that she has in the end. And for easier handling, I shortened the black middle part already to not have more hair flying around than necessary. To finish the front of the wig, I use a folded around weft like this and glue it to the top of the wig, taming it down with heat and distributing it evenly. To match the parting weft with the back of the wig, I glue another folded weft in the opposite direction and also tame it in place. And then I use my tiny scissors and cut the bangs to their final length. A bunch of the cutoffs fell onto Shylily's chest. Hairy booba. For Shylily's swimsuit outfit hairstyle, I will now be braiding the wig in a cute sideways braided ponytail and secure the ends with elastic. Hairstyle done, but her ears are still missing. Blue Pixie also sculpted these and I printed them, and now just have to paint them grey on the inside and black on the outside. I simply use acrylic paints for that. And then I slap them onto the wig. First one, and then the other ear. And with that, Shylily's wig is already done, and I'm really proud of myself for being able to recreate her iconic hairstyle. I did not add the ahoge because she will be wearing a cat hood and it wouldn't have worked with that, sadly. Oh, and I also added a tiny little star to the end of her ponytail for more accuracy of the look I'm going for. Time for the face-up. I was really looking forward to this because I love painting these open mouth expressions so much. After sealing her off with Mr. Super Clear, I can then take my pearly shimmers and dust them all over the face to give her skin a magical glow before taking light pink pastel chalk dust to blush her cheeks, forehead and chin. With the base blushing done, I take a brown colored pencil and will first sketch out her eye lines. Using brown instead of black helps erase mistakes easier. When one eye was done, I simply copy, mirror and paste it to the other side and end up with something like this. I wish it was that easy in real life. And while we're at it, let's also sketch out her eyebrows already so that we can dive into stage 2 of the face-up. Adding paint. As you can see, I was so excited to paint the mouth, I even started with it and first paint the back of it with Bordeaux red. Okay, I'm letting this dry now before I paint the tongue, and let's paint the eye lines now. Lid lines. That is a nightmare. Oh god. Painting the lid lines was probably the hardest part of the face-up because they are so thin, and I had to make sure to always have the right color consistency in order to be able to paint them smoothly. But hey, after that I could finally paint the tongue completely out of focus because my cam did not cooperate, but I just basically filled it in with pink. And of course the little teeth can't be missing as well. I figured that using ink of Posca markers is a really nice way of getting pigmented thin acrylic paint. And now finally we can fill in the eye lines with black acrylic paint. This step always is so magical because the face-up goes from sketch to a more finalized version. The secret here is to stop drinking coffee and rest your drawing hand with 1 or 2 fingers on your other hand, the doll head, or the table for more steadiness. And yes, in the same run as the eyes, I also painted the eyebrows already. And now we have to add Shylily's face mark. To paint them, I also sketched them out first, in this case with a blue colored pencil, but also adding some purple with a purple pencil to the end of the ornaments. And after I sketched all the marks out, I then filled them in with paint. I decided to try to make the gradients with paint this time, and oh boy was that difficult. Like, I don't know how Mariah Elizabeth makes gradient look so easy, but I needed so long to make this look good. Oh, making the gradients was not that easy, but I made it work. After being satisfied with those gradients, it's finally time for some pearly Oh my god! I wrote Shylighter! How fitting. Now just some gloss on her waterlines is missing. I didn't gloss the mouth this time because it will look better on photos later if it's matte. Alright, let's let the face up dry and make her eyes. Blue made these iris templates for her draw over of the 3D model, so I will be using these and printed them out already. Then, using a half sphere silicone mold, I pour in some resin into it, put the iris onto the resin upside down, and let the whole thing cure under my UV lamp for about 2 minutes. Afterwards we can demold and end up with a cute eye. I realized that the size was off though, so I made the eyes again, and here they are. And here is Shylily's face. Let's smash them together with editing magic. Oh my god, I wasn't sure just how much she would already look like her, but this is insane. She's so cute, like look at her. My assistant Leon was so nice to also add the body markings to Shylily's body, and he did a marvelous job. Thank you so much, Leon. And I also gave her the blue bracelets already with some satin ribbon. Onto the outfit. To make Shylily's bathing suit, I'm first going to iron on some seam lines with white fabric vinyl onto some white super elastic spandex fabric. I really got a dust off that iron press at one point. After ironing it for 20 seconds, I then peel off the transfer vinyl and have some perfect iron seam lines. Oh my god, I'm trying to cut out the pieces now that I just ironed because I have to cut them super accurate along those printed or ironed on lines, and oh my god, it's taking forever. Basically, you can see here I have to cut it like this, super accurate. I use my smallest scissors and I burn the edges to have it like super clean. It looks fantastic when it's done, but it takes forever. Okay, I finally managed to cut out the bodice piece. It was a nightmare, but hey, now I have it. And I already ironed seam tape underneath the cutout so that I can use this blue glitter tool and iron this underneath. To iron on pieces that have fabric vinyl on, you always have to cover them up with a baking paper or something similar in order for the vinyl not to get stuck on your iron and melt. Then I just carefully remove the piece from my iron board and will now add the back pieces to the bralette of the bodice first. Now we can put the bodice aside and prep the top part of the bathing suit by sewing some darts on the outer halves of the bra cups, so it will look like this afterwards. And now I take the middle part of the bralette and connect it with both bra cup halves finished sides in. Now I have the honor to merge these two pieces together. Yay! Where are my needles? I always like to pin the middle first and then distribute the rest. Here you can see me pinning the top and bottom of the bathing suit together finished sides in before I will sew the whole thing. After sewing it looks like this, and now we have to connect the back side of it by sewing it finished sides in as well. I also closed the crotch seam right after sewing the back, so it actually starts to look like a wearable clothing piece. For the upper part of the bathing suit I needed another piece of tulle that I cleaned up with some dark blue fabric vinyl strips and will now glue it onto the bodice with my UV glue. I did not sew this because I wanted a seamless finish. With doll clothing pieces, gluing is actually a very common practice and it's not always possible to sew everything. Now just the little choker of the suit is missing. I already cleaned up this blue fabric strip and will now simply glue it to the upper part of the tulle piece. And to be able to add Shylily's little buckle and charm, I then glue two fabric strips onto it and finish it off with a little fake buckle that I'm going to be gluing to the middle of the choker. With this outfit, Lily wears a small bell on the choker, so I'm also attaching that to the buckle with a small golden jewelry ring and close it with my doge pliers. Now the bathing suit is almost done. Just the little flowers are missing, which I will be making from this blue cord. I first make a loop like this and leave the end long, and then make 4 more petals like this and glue them to the first loop until I end up with a little flower. Then I open up the cord, remove the center string and brush it out. I just have to straighten this with a hair iron. After straightening the brushed cord, we have a cute little tassel. Now I just have to repeat the whole process a second time and then add small golden half beads to finish off the flowers. I attach them with PVA glue. Last step is to glue the flowers to the bathing suit, and it is done! I feel the glittery tulle is such a cute detail and I'm glad the flowers look this cute. For closures I put some velcros to the bathing suit. Okay, so the next thing to make is Lily's kimono dress, which actually gave me a lot of headaches. Alright, so technically the outfit in its 2D form doesn't really work in 3D or from a sewing point of view. So I spent a whole day breaking my head trying to figure out how to make this outfit work. I couldn't really figure out a way how to do it though, so I asked my good friend and power seamstress Moyashi doll. She literally was my knight in shining armor and came up with the idea to make the sleeves separate from the rest of the gown. So with that in mind, I was able to draft out a pattern and then could go on to the next step, which was vectorizing all the prints. And And with the designs all done, I sent them to a fabric printing company and got my finished fabric just a few days later because they are awesome. So the fabric just arrived for Shylily's kimono thing and I'm absolutely blown away. It looks so good. Look at this. This is incredible. With the fabric printing being a big success, I can now cut the pieces apart so I can iron on some fabric vinyls to it because it's still missing the golden parts on it. For that I need to cut a bunch of little golden shells and stars and weed them out. And then I can place them onto the fabric pieces. Vinyl is on, heat press is hot, let's iron! The gold vinyl is ironed on a little less hot than the regular vinyl and has to be peeled off when cooled down, otherwise the vinyl might rip. Okay, so I realized I don't really know how to do the lower bow thing, edge. So what I did now is I cut some lines from white fabric vinyl and will put them on the open edges of the sleeves so that I don't have to sew them around here. I can just glue them together. But I have to iron them on now and I'll just show you guys how I'm gonna do it in the end. I decided that I'm lazy and I'm gonna iron this on with a regular iron. You can do that too. Like, you don't need a fancy iron press. You can also iron this on with an iron. With the iron press for bigger stuff it's better, but for these small things it's completely fine. Oh my god, I'm cutting out the sleeves right now and it takes so long. So as you can see, I have to cut them out with weird seam allowances and stuff like that. And it is so time consuming because I have to cut this edge super accurate. It takes a long time. I'm almost done though. Just one more left. So yeah, let's cut it out real quick and then we can finally sew the sleeves. Alright, they're cut out and fray checked. And now, like I did here, I have to glue around these edges, these inner edges, because this is a part that stays open in the end. And that I have to do first, and then we can finally sew them together. It is completely fine to use a regular glue stick for simple cotton fabrics like this. Holds like a charm. I have to put the front sleeve on top of the back sleeve, like this, and then sew that here. After sewing the sleeves pieces together, I then fold around the seam allowances on top and glue it in place with some seam tape. Then I'm taking an elastic ribbon like this one and will sew it onto the sleeves while pulling it tight so it will gather together after sewing. Here you can see me pulling it under the sewing machine and then sewing the whole thing. It's a bit tricky but not too bad, and it works. Just one more thing to do on the sleeves. Sewing them together, finished sides in along all the seam allowances that aren't cleaned up. Then we can flip them inside out and glue the bottom edge together for a super clean and seamless finish. In the end, I added some glistening glitter spray to the sleeves for a shimmery finish. They turned out so nice and I'm very excited to see the whole outfit together in the end. Next we have to make the skirt, and for the front pieces I actually needed to dye some fabric. I have this light blue chiffon and I'm going to try to dip dye it. So I first have to drench it in water. Now I will add some eye dye poly and hope it's gonna work out. I add the dye to the pot, stir it well, and then dunk the fabric in until almost the very end of the edge. Then I add more dye, stir it, dunk the fabric in about halfway through, and add dye one last time and dunk the fabric in about a third of the way. Okay, it's drying now and I have to wait until that is dry, but it should have worked out, hopefully. This is definitely darker than this, so yeah. Let's see when it's dry. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is such a beautiful gradient. Like, it actually worked. I'm so glad. So now we can iron on these wave thingies. I made these wave sea shoreline vinyl cuts from white fabric vinyl and iron them onto the fabric, peel off the transfer vinyl while it's still hot, and end up with a beautiful piece. I cleaned up all the edges of all the skirt pieces and I pinned them together now so I can put a gathering thread right here. And yeah, it's a huge piece. I can barely fit it on. So yeah, let's put a gathering thread into it and continue with the kimono. The skirt will only be sewn on onto the back of the collar pieces, so I have to gather the whole thing down to about 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches. Then I'm taking the first piece of the 3-layered collar and sew it on finished sides in. To give the piece more stability and give the 3 colors a little bit of these gaps in between, I apply the stinky booger glue to the collar and a small EVA foam strip and glue the strip onto the collar. Then I add color number 2 to the foam strip from the inside. And last but not least, color number 3 in the same fashion as well. Since the dress can be put on from the top of the head, I will glue the front together. To make the big golden ribbon, I use these golden leggings because I couldn't find metallic golden fabric anywhere around here, and cut the pieces that I need from it. Okay, so we just had a major blackout for like 2 hours. I couldn't do anything. So the only thing I did now is I already finished the ribbon up until this point and made a lower thing. And now I will put these together to have the complete ribbon. With a little middle strip glued in place, the ribbon is done and now just needs to be glued to the front part of the dress. And with a little bit of glitter spray added, the kimono is done and it looks so pretty. I'm kind of proud of myself that I was able to gradient dye the chiffon fabric so nicely. Now onto Shylily's cat hood. Yay! Alright, so in order to make her cat hood, Blue Pixie sculpted this huge cat hood and I printed it. I needed to print it in beige because I ran out of white. Problem, we both kind of forgot that it has fangs, but I found these tiny little mini horns that I printed ages ago. I don't even know for what project, but I never used them. So I put it in a little cavity now and I will glue them onto the cat hood and then sand everything smooth, and then we can spray paint her. So let's do that, maybe with a little montage. After sanding and painting, the whole piece is so smooth, so it's perfect to be painted. I start with the golden parts and paint them with some liquid golden paint and a teeny tiny brush. Afterwards, I'm adding the light blue parts with a powdery blue colored acrylic paint, and then use some Prussian blue acrylic paint to add the darker blue parts. It's hard to film this, but I basically have to paint the whole inside blue as well. Somehow the whole cat looks like a fancy ramen bowl. And with the inside painted, I can then add some gradient shading, this time using pastel chalk dust. Now just the decorations of the hood are missing. So I tried to find a way to make these little flowers on the cat hood, and I wanted to knot them like the classic Asian methods of knotting these flowers, and I could not figure out how to do it because apparently my brain cannot comprehend how to do that. So I asked my assistant Leon and he did an incredible job. Like, look at this, these knotted flowers look so good. So now we can continue with the cat hood. To prep the flower charms, I first have to snip off the ends of the golden ones and glue them towards the back, before then gluing the golden flower underneath the blue flowers like this. Then I snip off one strand of the blue flower straps and glue it in place as well, before using this little folded wire that will help me threading on a golden bead to the cord. I glue it in place and add more golden beads by gluing them a little diagonal and finish it off with another threaded on bead glued in place. On the bottom, I add another half bead and then just brush it out and straighten the ends of the cord to create a tassel again. Just like with the bathing suit, I have to repeat the whole thing one more time and can then finally glue the flowers in place onto the cat hood using some hot glue for an extra strong hold. Okay, I already prepared this little draped fabric thing. It was so difficult to do and I just gave up filming it. But it's just basically like a curtain swag now, and now I'm going to glue this onto the cat hood. So yeah, I literally turned my swag on here and glued the draped swag onto the cat hood, also using hot glue. I ended up putting some half beads here because it looks nice. And yay, the cat hood is done, and I love that it looks so much like porcelain and that the little teeth look like they have been there from the very beginning. Let's finally make Shylily's orca tail. I actually harvested a fleece blanket for this and first sewed together the tail pieces like this. Then I cut away the seam allowances and flipped the whole thing inside out. To make it very lightweight, I will just be adding some stuffing material that I still had from my Ari doll and fill it up until the desired point. Then I just sew a gathering stitch all the way along the opening and need to pull both ends to close up the gap and end up with this cute tail piece. Since I want to attach the tail with a magnet to Shylily's back, I glue on one magnet to the tail and then cover it up with a little piece of fleece fabric for a cleaner look. To make the tail fin, I cut the shape twice from fleece fabric and ironed on some interfacing for a little more stability. Then I sew them together, finished sides in, and end up with something like this. I left the fin open on the bottom and can then glue the fin to the tail with some Uhu glue. To make the white strips on the tail, I cut a little strip like this from felt and first glue around the upper seam allowances to the inside of the piece, which I already prepped with cutting little notches along the curved pieces. When the two pieces were cleaned up, I can now glue them together on top of the fin. First one side and then the other. I make sure to squeeze together the upper seam tightly so you can almost not see the seam. And this is how the finished tail looks like. I like that it is very lightweight and soft, and I think it fits the whole doll so nicely. Alright, only one more thing left. A custom doll stand. Okay, so I vectorized Shylily's logo. That took forever, but it looks really nice so far. And now I cut it up into all the different colors that I have to cut it from vinyl. And yeah, now I'm gonna do that. With the cutting files ready, I now have to cut shapes from a bunch of colors and different vinyls with my dad's plotter. Afterwards, I can satisfyingly weed them out. I'd be asking, well, Elisa, where do we stick those vinyls on? Bear with me, we have to ask my dad to cut some acrylic again. Are you ready for some ASMR peel-off action? To be able to place the vinyls, I printed the logo in original size and placed the acrylic sheet on top. Then I take the first vinyl and completely mess it up.
Bruh.
I ran to my dad for the rescue and he told me that gluing things like that wet is the best idea because you can shift around the vinyl a little to make them fit. After the first blue layer, we needed to glue the white layer, peel off the transfer vinyl when dry, and then glue the baby blue letters. I love the little shrimp in the logo so much. And after that we could add the blue to the letters, and then I took it upon myself to glue all the little details like the choker, the charm, and all the little bubbles to the logo. Done! Oh my god, looks so good. Just gonna clean it and then I can insert the rod. Yay! For the finished look, I just have to insert the rod and push it in tight. I need to really push this in. Okay, that should do it. And with that, Shylily is finally done. Are you ready for the reveal? Shylily all done. I'm so happy how she turned out and I cannot wait for my next project, which will be quite literally huge. As always, thank you to all of my patrons for your incredible support. I love you so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching and see you soon. Bye! There is a fly here. It better don't want some screen time as well.